Hello and welcome, everyone. We're back with Bruce Lee again in our series with Michael on the Satanic Media Agenda. We'll know our disinformation program is complete when everything the American public believes is false.
Like the moon landing.
Yeah.
Like so many other things. And now I found something. From the official biographer of the Bruce Lee estate, managed by Shannon Lee and Linda Lee, his daughter and his ex-wife. There is a book of letters of Bruce Lee. This is a letter of March 3rd, 1965, when he was still in the United States, when he was not a big star, and also even the Green Hornet has not been made yet. So this is posted from Hong Kong, where he was visiting, yeah, and sending the letter back to the United States. Linda, la 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 la, yeah, just only look at the signature here. Till then, my dearest wife, with love from China, James Bond. Maybe we should call the session China, James Bond, because that letter I found in that book. There you go. And he's talking about it in 1971. He says, we're gonna make it into like a new Chinese James Bond type of it. In 1971. In 1971. You see, why these guys like this necromantic Jimmy Savile are all promoted? Because they have just ties to, for example, the British royals, yeah, so they don't get sued. Bruce Lee is here talking about Chinese James Bond. He's writing about China James Bond to his wife. So he wants to be like a James Bond character in his movies. And that's why people are just claiming that, oh yeah, Sharon Tate, I don't just want to know what Sharon Tate is. Sharon Tate is, of course, an US Army asset. On the fruits, you will know them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, riding American rocket with US Army out of it. Yeah, you see that she's been possessed by the US Army. At least her father is it. Yeah, Paul Tate used the press to promote Sharon from early on as well. She appeared on the cover of Stars and Stripes magazine in the early 60s, astride a US Army missile. Do you imagine her father didn't know anything about it? When she went on a military school? Stars and Stripes is the military-owned magazine and operates from inside the Pentagon. And you see that, in my humble opinion, there's no doubt that Sharon Tate is Patty Tate, and it's just a complete mock-up.
Mm-hmm.
It's a complete fabrication. Yeah, it's like 9/11. And why is it? Yeah, because today I found not that important video, but I found an important picture here. You see, this is the early 60s, a time when America was still racially and culturally divided. You see all the problems with the black people, Martin Luther King, Malcolm X. And the Asians also, they were just against the Vietnam War because they were seen as the enemy in terms of real hard, die-hard American population.
Yeah.
And that's, I think, what makes Bruce Lee so successful, because in his second movie, Fist of Fury, it's about against the Japanese school and Japanese suppression of China. He's just smashing a sign called "No Dogs and Chinese Allowed." So he was presenting the first Asian superstar, and more prolific and precise, more specific, the first Chinese superhero who could take on everybody else because of his supreme martial arts. That's the real deal with it. He was presented by the agenda for that time when the war in Vietnam was on a decline, And then the first Asian megastar could arrive. And the people needed a figure to identify with. They needed a so-called role model. Yeah, and then all the communities in the United States and communities in foreign lands and in China and Hong Kong and all the stuff, all of a sudden, bang, they had their role model. That was Bruce Lee. He made it because he was the first one. He was the role model. Yeah, and even the interviewer in 1971, he says, yeah, on the part of the Nixon administration toward China has helped your chances. Yeah, so it is a political thing if somebody, for example, the Bruce Lee movies weren't distributed in America, in the United States of America, if I remember correctly, until 1973. Because USA was not ready for an American, or USA was not ready for an Asian superstar. It's all an agenda. It has to fit the politics. You can be the best, but if it does not fit the agenda, you're out. You're not in. And I think that's what made him famous in the first movies, when he's against foreigners. Yeah, and the second movie is against Japanese. The third movie is against Americans with Chuck Norris and Robert Wall, for example, and Chinese, Hong In-sik, if he was, and Japanese like Hong In-sik. I don't know if he is Korean but at least he's not Chinese. Yeah, and in the last movie he finished, Enter the Dragon, it was a Chinese actor, and that's not what the public has praised, and that was that they were not appreciating Enter the Dragon that much, at least not in Hong Kong. Yeah, because he was too commercial with that. It was not traditional. It was too commercial for the Chinese audience, I think. It was beyond their expectations in Enter the Dragon. Enter the Dragon was fine in Europe, was fine in America and all the stuff, but not in Hong Kong. It was too American, with the production of Warner Brothers, of course, also. Yeah, so the interviewer said the opening of China, that will bring all the success and all the stuff. Yeah, that's all in a big agenda. And there are people that you never have heard of. For example, Miles Copeland's Spies, their sons, the son of them, Stuart Copeland, as the drummer, he has managed to create the Police. Because his father was police. Yeah, it's all rituals, and it's all these secret societies are serving the Secret Service. Secret Service is just serving the agenda or the Roman Catholic Church or the Jesuits. And that's why I thought it would be a great idea to go into this, because if it suits the case of the killing of John F. Kennedy as a Freemason ritual being seen as part of a James Bond movie, where they're just been boasting with it in a certain kind of way, why not look for other things? Because maybe the Secret Service, in the case of Ian Fleming's James Bond movies, they serve this purpose as well. I have to remind you of our sessions. I can only do a short cut here with the James Bond character From Russia with Love being officially the last movie that John F. Kennedy saw before his death in Dallas. From Russia with Love is also that character of the Patsy Lee Harvey Oswald. So that was our session behind the curtain, John F. Kennedy 007. Yeah, because the JFK ritual was more or less being a cover for the Masonic symbolism of killing the king Hiram Abiff on the 22nd of the month 11, which is 33, 3 days before the third birthday on JFK Jr. on the 33 parallel with 3 shots and 3 lanes with triple underpass. But of course, keep calm, it's just a coincidence. It is just a coincidence. Yeah, everything happens in a certain order of the agenda, but it's of course just a coincidence. The only thing what is really interesting is that Tom Bleecker has written a book, which I have in my possession. It's called Journeying Beyond the Mountaintop, and this is the back cover of it, where he's been portraying with that he has trained with Bruce Lee and his mentor Blake Edwards. And Blake Edwards has made that movie A Shot in the Dark. Yeah, with the Freemason Peter Sellers. Yeah. So, as Tom Bleecker, of course, is a part of Hollywood. He's a scriptwriter. Yeah, what do we expect? So, of course, he's in touch with all these people. In 1971, the movie is called Diamonds Are Forever. Sean Connery, last time as James Bond. There's a scene on the movie. No, don't. It's not Neil Armstrong. It's just a movie. It's just a movie of James Bond, of Secret Service, MI6. Okay? Ken Adams was the production designer on that movie who created this scene. Interesting, he was also Stanley Kubrick's production designer. So don't get fooled, because it's just a coincidence. Okay? It is just a coincidence.
Keep calm.
Keep calm. Yeah. And this is depicting Howard Hughes, and we will come to this later. Oh my. You see that when people do movies, they do movies in certain facilities. One movie is called Gentlemen Prefer Blondes with Marilyn Monroe. MM speaks of Freemason Code 33. Filmed at the famous Spahn Ranch, later used by the Manson family of Charles Manson, where he allegedly was being arrested as the leader of the cult. You see all these many weapons of these terrorists here, huh? No, they're just being a bunch of actors, in my humble opinion. Yeah, this is happening at the Spahn's Ranch, when famous Hollywood producers were using that ranch beforehand. But it must just be a coincidence. So like Francis Ford Coppola, yeah, is also an Italian guy. Yeah, he was a member of a Freemason society called Phi Beta Kappa. He made a 30-minute commercial for Jesuit Jerry Brown, the governor of California, who lived in Laurel Canyon and was a friend of cult leader Jim Jones. Keep calm, it's just a coincidence. John F. Kennedy dies in a plane crash on his way to Island Martha's Vineyard on day of release of Eyes Wide Shut. Jacqueline Bouvier Kennedy was a Jesuit-trained media actress. Yes, people mistake her as a loving wife. Yeah. And John F. Kennedy had to find out the hard way. So we spoke that everything is controlled in this mass media. For example, Google, and is just using Google Play, the sigle of Lucifer, and all the stuff, censorship of Google and YouTube. We are just wondering how long we can be on this channel, and I think that we have to move somewhere else. GOO stands for 007. Yeah, G is the 7th letter, so OO stands for 0 or OO. Tubal Cain, descendant of Lucifer, a password in Freemasonry. So there you got it too, 007, once again. Or the private eyes. Tubal Cain, the son of Cain, or the Cain line of Cain. Tubal Cain, the father of Smithcraft. Even that radio reporter on the JFK assassination was a Freemason, but who cares? So now we're making progress here. 175. Oh. The producers are coming from Italy, and of course are Knights of the British Empire, like James Bond, so you can see that they are into it. No? Some secret code of the Freemasons, or of people in numerology actually, is HH, or 88, yeah, because 88 is the time of the planet Mercury circling the sun officially. So 88 means Mercury, and Mercury means Hermes, and means sorcery. Yeah, so Howard Hughes has 88, Hugh Hefner, Playboy, has 88, Howard Hunt, the famous spy, has 88. Interesting, huh? Just wait. It's just a coincidence, of course. Much coincidence. And these people and these movies were being produced later on by Jesuit Barbara Broccoli, the daughter of Albert Broccoli, 007. Romulo is his name, yeah, so name of the founder of Rome. Yeah, you guess why. He was Italian born, and he had also ties with the organized crime. If they are mocking the moon landing in Diamonds Are Forever, or just start anew. If they are mocking the Kennedy assassination in Goldfinger, and they are mocking the moon landing in Diamonds Are Forever, which is both very close to the events they want to sell us. 1963, the Kennedy assassination, 1964, Goldfinger. 1979, the alleged moon landing. 1971, Diamonds Are Forever, with the moon
You
landing.
said 1979, you meant 1969, Michael.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, once again. 1969, the alleged moon landing, happening on the same day where the alleged death of Bruce Lee occurred, on the 20th of July, and the alleged date of assassination of Hitler, which failed. Then it's very close in 1971 with the Diamonds Are Forever, when James Bond is just showing you here in that scene that it is just a stage. All the world's a stage, Shakespeare said, born in the same town as Alistair Crowley, by the way. Yeah, the real umbrella man. Yeah, with this, you don't have to believe everything, but it is just an agenda, and everybody serves his purpose. Yeah, some have an affiliation for numbers 13 for the Freemasons, for example.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and this is just a moon landing, which never happened because there was a bunch of actors in some kind of a facility, underground or not, in the United States of America, with just using cement and no stars and 1,000 other things. You even can prove them wrong with their own physics. So if they do this in two cases, with Diamonds Are Forever with the moon landing, and in Goldfinger for the assassination of John F. Kennedy, they do that in other movies too. Shot in the Dark from Blake Edwards, who say the bullets were fired as close range from an Italian pistol, of course, because officially the Italian rifle has been used, Mannlicher Cancano, from John F. Kennedy, is just pointing to Italy, yeah, because Italy is just the origin of the assassination attempt, or the assassination and the country behind the assassination, and it's not the mafia. So this is the grave of Ian Fleming, who wrote that James Bond novels. Something familiar with the obelisk here of Osiris in the temple of Dealey Plaza, when you know that John F. Kennedy has been killed in the Freemason temple. You know that the Freemasons at least were involved in that, and that Ian Fleming has something to do with Freemasons. Well, then it's no surprise that in the 1974 movie The Man with the Golden Gun, a certain actor called Christopher Lee was playing the villain. On the right side you see Roger Moore here with a smaller gun, an actor who plays a secret agent. And on the left side is Christopher Lee. It's an agent who plays to be an actor, who is an agent in real life, because he always carries his identification card on the special operations executive with him, even in that talk show here. Christopher Lee talks special forces and receives an incredible gift. Yeah. It's the identification card of Lee, and this is a membership card of SAS, Special Air Service, that is. And he's carrying with him, and he says that, he's visiting so much police offices and societies all around the world because he's collecting identity cards and all the stuff, and the audience buys it. He is descendant of a nobility, of a noble Italian family. We have made so many sessions about Christopher Lee. So therefore, he is an agent. He is a keeper of the secrets too. That is no coincidence, yeah, that he is just somebody of the people who knew too much. His relative is an Italian diplomat, and his own production company is called Charlemagne, which means Karl the Great, or Charles the Great. It's every time the same. They are just mocking you. Some of Christopher Lee's movie is from 1971, incorporating one of the biggest students of Bruce Lee. It's called Joe Louis. He was heavyweight karate champion of the world. And Joe Louis is starring in that movie, and that movie is about a plot follows a secret agent who battles in international drug rings. What a coincidence. It's always coincidence. I'm running out of coincidences here. So when he's carrying in his membership card of SAS with him, yeah, you only have to take into consideration and to just add 2 and 2 together that he's still in the Secret Service. Because that card gives him access to all the secret societies. My. So secret societies, Secret Service, all work the same. Yeah. Ian Fleming, the author of James Bond, received a fan letter in 1957 from Geoffrey Boothroyd, a Bond enthusiast and gun expert, criticizing the choice of firearm for James Bond, the fictional character. Boothroyd called the Beretta a ladies' gun and suggested several alternatives. One was the Walter. Fleming thanked Boothroyd by naming the MI6 Armorer and Dr. No after him. In the film, Boothroyd references this when describing the Beretta with the line, "Nice and light for a lady's handbag." And you see here, believe it or not, the most likely assassin, Jacqueline Bouvier Kennedy, CIA agent, with a handgun. With a handbag. Yeah, and with a handgun. And no one dares to control it, because she's the first lady. Yeah, and her reward is just marrying a billionaire. And some other things too. When we talk about the movies of James Bond, everybody's referring to George Lazenby's 1969 On Her Majesty's Secret Service. And I thought, okay, I'll go into this. It plays in Switzerland, a Roman Catholic country, the country which had been founded by the remains of the Knight Templars in the beginning of the 14th century. Of course, Switzerland has that red cross. No big deal. Okay, so everybody talks about Lazenby, yeah? George Lazenby on the 20th of July, George Lazenby, James Bond, American Dressman, and he has starred in a movie called On Her Majesty's Secret Service with Diana Rigg. Diana Rigg, remember the Avengers, so they serve Mars, the lady with that strange tracksuit. Yeah, On Her Majesty's Secret Service, 1969 spy film, and the 6th in the James Bond movies, based on the 1963 novel by Ian Fleming. James Bond saves a woman on the beach, committing suicide by drowning, and later meets her again in a casino. That woman, Comtessa Tracy Di Vincenzo, invites Bond to her hotel room to thank him, but when Bond arrives, he is attacked by an unidentified man. After subduing the man, Bond returns to his own room and finds Tracy there. She claims she was unaware of the attacker's presence. The next morning, Bond is kidnapped by several men, including the one he fought, who take him to meet Marc-André Draco, like Dragon, of course, the head of the European crime syndicate Union Corse. Draco reveals that Tracy is his only daughter and tells Bond of her troubled past, offering Bond £1 million if he will marry her. Bond refuses but agrees to continue romancing Tracy if Draco helps him track down Ernst Blofeld, the head of Spectre, which has a bald head like Alistair Crowley because he has been played by Telly Savalas. Losing my voice. Bond tries to trick Blofeld into leaving Switzerland. Bond breaks into the office of Swiss lawyer Gebrüder Gumboldt and learns that Blofeld is corresponding with London College of Arms geologists in attempting to claim the title Count Balthazar de Beauchamp. Bond goes to meet Blofeld, the gangster who has established a clinical allergy research institute atop Piz Gloria in the Swiss Alps. Bond meets 12 young women, later referred to Blofeld as his Angels of Death. Yeah, Playboy has been edited or been founded by Hugh Hefner, HH88, Mercury. It's not only a pornographic magazine, but it's founded in 1953, the year of MK Ultra, by Hugh Hefner, 88, with monarch slave Marilyn Monroe on its first cover. It uses mind control sex slave in the cult of the Whore of Babylon, Isis Ishtar, associated with rabbits, because of their little ears. It uses sexuality as a weapon to distract, has Babylonian mystery religion as sexual revolution. Monarch butterflies, red shoes, ruby symbols of Wizards of Oz, Masonic checkerboards, black and white zebra patterns, 66 old eyes, etc. History of Playboy and all the alike. Hugh Hefner played the Howard Hughes, HH, 88, archetype, the child of the Arion of Horus, like Aleister Crowley. Yeah. Playboy magazine appeared in Stanley Kubrick's Dr. Strangelove. In 1971, James Bond movie Diamonds Are Forever showed Bond has a Playboy Club member card. So, this is also into MK Ultra, so there are also ties to secret societies. His daughter, Christy Hefner, Phi Beta Kappa, so also Freemason, became CEO of Playboy Enterprises. Donald Trump was on the cover of Playboy 1990, maybe the lowest sold issue, I do not know. Playboy produced Red Shoe Diaries, Red Shoes, Dorothy, Wizard of Oz programming. Oh, where to start? So where to start? Well, let's get back to... So, that has to do with MK Ultra as well. So, what do you see here? This is
Masonic floor.
A Masonic floor, yeah. This is supposed to be the headquarters in London, huh? So now they are in Switzerland, as you can see, because it's cold out there. I can't have a better picture because I'm glad that I have that movie, but I have not a better picture. And as well, you see the Beetle Capri here. The Beetle also from the Egyptian Mysteries. Yeah. It's not only a Volkswagen Beetle, but it has also to do with the Winged Beetle of Aleister Crowley and all the stuff. I can't read anything here, but just to show you. And this is just that Bond is arriving on that Swiss in the Swiss Alps, on the headquarters of the enemy, and you see that he has got a very interesting coat of arms, I'd say, huh?
Mm-hmm.
So. Then Mr. Bond is being dressed as a Scotsman. What kind of a strange coincidence? Yeah, can it anything to do does it have anything to do with the Scottish rite of Freemasonry? Maybe, just maybe. Yeah, you see that now the Winged Beetle from Aleister Crowley. So this is the villain, which is being played by Telly Savalas. And didn't we learn that Ian Fleming thought that Aleister Crowley would be a great villain because of his staring eyes and his boldness? And you see that here Telly Savalas looks quite similar to Aleister Crowley, I'd say. And what's he talking about, James Bond? He talking about, we are here to create vaccines to be modified. That's what he actually tells us. Or not us, but the general audience. You don't have to believe me. I wrote it here in the description of that frame. You don't have to believe me. You only have to read the content. After dinner, Bond goes to the room of one patient, Ruby, to seduce her. At midnight, while still with Ruby, Bond discovers the women go into a sleep-induced hypnotic state. MK Ultra, traumatic mind control, trauma-based mind control, while Blofeld implants subliminal audio instructions. In fact, they are being brainwashed to distribute bacteriological warfare agents throughout the world. Ha. What a coincidence. We're speaking of 1969, that movie, the same year that Manson appeared and the moon landing. Yeah. And we're talking about here MK Ultra, quite obviously, huh? Let's get back to the movie. We're still in 1969. And Bruce Lee is still in the United States, huh? Yeah. He says, we would like to create total infertility. And this is a movie from 1969. That's 54 years ago. And you think that's a new hypothesis? They tell you something in advance, and I don't think that many people have that movie as a reference here. On Her Majesty's Secret Service, where a Crowley-like villain in Switzerland, the land of the Knight Templars, is telling you that they want to have world dominion by spreading over bacteria or a virus who is creating total infertility. But of course, don't worry, because it's all a big coincidence. There is nothing to see here, therefore we go over to the next picture. And this total infertility virus is called Omega, which is the last letter of the Greek alphabet. Remember? Somebody reading the Bible?
Mm-hmm. Alpha and Omega?
Yeah, and this is the Omega. This is the end of the world. The Omega. This is the end. Total infertility. 1969. No, I'm not making that up. I have watched that movie. Of course, Bond is avoiding this for the sake of mankind. Distribute bacteriological warfare agents throughout the world. That's the content of that movie. And this is where George Lazenby is playing James Bond, or Aleister Crowley, or John Dee on that regard.
Yeah, John Dee. Right.
The man who has the license.
The original 007.
Yeah, the man who has the license to kill. The one who has the license to kill is playing God. Do what thou wilt. And James Bond does what he wills, what he likes. Mm-hmm. Yeah, total infertility, virus Omega. Yeah, with a double-headed eagle, or what else that may ever depict. And these people, these servants of that villain, are wearing orange, which is also indication of Freemasonry. Ah, what a coincidence. It must be a coincidence because that color is so nice. Yeah, and that's, they are speaking about Rome in that position here, and I thought about, oh yeah, that's the Whore of Babylon, but what am I? I'm just looking over and I'm just seeing coincidences everywhere, yeah, coincidences everywhere. That may be a Ford, I do not know. If it is a Ford car, which they are hiding here in that shelter, Ford would be also Freemasonry, yeah. Orange once again. This is Diana Rigg, which you know from the Avengers, which are the servants of Mars. Yeah, and now they are faking the attack on this tower, on this castle, on a hill, on the top of the hill. They are faking it because then they are going to have 3 helicopters, 3 choppers, of course, with the Secret Service agents and all the stuff, and ammunition and weapons and bombs and what else. Yeah, and they are just claiming that, and they are just being interfered by the Swiss police or Swiss army and saying, no, you're not allowed to enter Swiss area. You have to identify yourself. And they are claiming, and they are lying, of course. They're saying, oh yeah, this is the Red Cross medical flight to Italy. Isn't that hilarious, Brad?
Mm-hmm.
A Red Cross medical flight to Italy? What a coincidence, huh? Don't fool me. Don't fool me. Don't fool me. I don't...
Well, because the Red Cross isn't that the third-ranking member on the structure to... if I remember right, is it York Rite, or is it Scottish Rite? I can't remember.
It must be then Scottish Rite, I think. I haven't looked that up, but I found that analogy so fitting. Red Cross stand for the Knights, yeah. And Red Cross is the civilian organization of the ones who shedding the blood. And then
it's the lowest ranking member. Yeah.
Yeah, and then they're going to Italy. Sure to Italy. Where else?
Fitting, huh?
I think to Rome directly, on the city of the 7 hills. Yeah, that looks a bit but like Apocalypse Now, no?
All approach calling unidentified aircraft.
Unidentified aircraft. Yeah. Yeah, and in the end, of course, they are just conquering all the stuff. And of course, the karate lady, Emma Peel, she is no match for all these overweight security guards there. But going back to my script. Yeah, so that reminds me of the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn.
Yeah, right.
And Mercury, by the way, is a traveler to the gods. Yeah. So a chopper, a helicopter would also be an analogy of Hermes or Mercury. But that's just my thought. Yeah. So that's the new Scotland Yard. Yeah, the Scottish Rite, and that also got me into my research when I saw that this famous pathologist, forensic pathologist Donald Tare, was being sent into Hong Kong for the examination, the analysis of the cause of Bruce Lee's death. And I said, okay, there's an involvement from Scotland Yard, which is more or less the police corporation, also of the officially Freemason country of Freemason Scotland Yard. Now, the double-headed eagle is currently the most noted symbol of the 33 degree. Scottish Rite double-headed eagle, which is also depicted here. Ordo ab cow, 33 degree. Yeah, and she's threatening then the guards with that broken bottle, which reminded me of Enter the Dragon, when Han's bodyguard was then threatening Bruce Lee with a broken bottle. But what do I know? Yeah, and on that chalet, on that castle, where they are just having that the battle with the secret agents, with the helicopters, there is a German imprinting called Versöhnung der Technik mit der Natur. Reconciliation of technology with nature. Oh. Reconciliation of technique with the nature. Oh, that is very much reminding me of like things like Georgia Guidestones, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is the end of it when they escape. The villain escapes, or somebody escapes with the checkered floor she vehicle. And just in the end, in the very end, this is a spoiler, so everybody who's into James Bond movies, please just mute your speakers. In the end, they have married. And then, out of a sudden, the villain, Telly Savalas / Aleister Crowley, with the bald head, is coming into a big Mercedes-Benz German car. And then they are starting fire, and she is fatally wounded and killed in the end. That is on Her Majesty's Secret Service, about a lunatic guy who's residing in the Swiss Alps, who is just wanting to take over the world with a deadly virus bacteria called Omega, which induces infertility. That's made by Eon Production. Eon is the goddess of sunrise, so Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn, on location in Switzerland and Portugal. Portugal, yeah, there was some Portuguese influence in Macau, huh? In Macau, they have all these. Portugal was under Portugal controlling, yeah. At Pinewood Studios, Pinewood, very interesting. That's a so-called Holy Roman tree in Italy, once again. Yeah, okay, but it must also be a coincidence. Everything is a coincidence here, of course. The producers gratefully acknowledge the help and cooperation of Her Majesty College of Arms and Heralds, the Schiltornbahn AG of Mürren, Switzerland, and the Ford Motor Company. What I said, huh? Freemasons, once again. I'm just combining the dots, and it must be a mere coincidence, in my humble opinion. It's all a coincidence. Everywhere I look in the movie Bloody Ring, it's all a coincidence with obelisks and all the stuff. Yeah, and nothing happens by chance. So even if some new snippets are coming from Bruce Lee, it's not a coincidence. It's not a coincidence. Yeah, you see this. Every time they are doing something to mock you. And why I've shown it to you, that was just the old James Bond movie. But there is much more to it. You see, 2 years later, in 1971, they decided not to take George Lazenby again because he was not that liked. The audience did not appreciate him. And now, in 1971, they made Diamonds Are Forever with that hilarious, funny moon scene where they tell you that, oh, it has been shot in just a studio. And now, just one question to you, dear colleague, on the other side of the ocean.
Yeah.
Why should somebody see George Lazenby as the interesting match for Bruce Lee when he did a movie in 1969 on Her Majesty's Secret Service which was not successful, and in 1971 Sean Connery took over once again with Diamonds Are Forever, and that 1 month before Bruce Lee died, Roger Moore had been introduced with Live and Let Die. Why? Then you have to come up with one answer. Your favorite 2 letters. Starting with B.
Oh, boy.
It's BS.
Yeah.
It's total BS. You see, 69 was Lazenby.
Mm.
Yeah? So, 69... Oh, shit. Why does it not work? 69 was on Her Majesty's Secret Service with Lazenby. So, okay. So, then 71 was Diamonds Are Forever with Sean Connery. So, and 73 was Live and Let Die. Live and Let Die with Roger Moore. So, Lazenby was out of date. Old-fashioned.
Yes. Yes.
4 years ago. There are
Right.
2 James Bond in between. Why should anybody care about George Lazenby? He was not a known star in the Asian Rome at that time. He was, according to his own status, he was almost broke.
Mm-hmm.
So he was not that big deal to Gordon Harvest, if you think so. The big deal was, oh yeah, there was a new James Bond introduced that was even Roger Moore. So he was not the forerunner, he was the forerunner. In that 1971 movie, Diamonds Are Forever, they are just making not only fun of the movies, of the moon, they are not just only making fun of the moon landing, which never happened, of course, because it defies all the laws of physics and the laws of common sense if you know all this aluminium foil and all these nails holding everything in place and the missing thrust of the engine and all the stuff. This is hilarious that somebody really has some sense in it. Then you have here in that picture here, Diamonds Are Forever, you have WW, which can also be seen as MM, or also be seen as 33. You only have to tilt your head a bit to the right, and then you see 33. So Freemason once again. The first trip to the moon, or the first one-eye symbolism of horrors, is the Georges Méliès movie Trip to the Moon. It's in 1902 with a tin can. Or aluminium, maybe. Yeah, with a tin can. Yeah, and you see pentagrams all over the place. Yeah, sun symbols, a pentagram inside a sun symbol. Who could have an interest in putting the hilarious BS into people that people couldn't go to the moon? Oh, I could come up with, because Georges Méliès was a Jesuit. And he made propaganda for the Roman Catholic Church or the Whore of Babylon. This Georges Méliès, this filmmaker of the first moon landing in 1902, in the tin can, was sent to the prestigious Lycée Louis le Grand. In his memoirs, he emphasized his formal classic education in contrast to accusations and all the stuff. And Louis le Grand is the name of an elite school in Quartier Latin in Paris. It's been known, it is in the German Wikipedia, it is known that it is a Jesuitenkolleg von Paris, or in the English Wikipedia, it was founded in the early 1560s by the Jesuit as the Collège de Clermont. And it was renamed. But only renamed. Yeah, Georges Méliès, on 8 December, I can't get up with all these French numerals here. Créateur du spectacle, cinématographie, prestigateur, inventeur des illusions. So they are creating illusions and they're getting away with that, yeah? So invasions, illusions, and special illusions, yeah? Or what you like to say, the magic lantern?
Sure.
The creator of cinematic spectacle, prestigator, inventor of numerous illusions. That's the moon. The ruler of Cancer. Cancer? 69. Yeah, so you know why in 1969 it had been that the moon has been discovered or been landed. What else? 69 is the number of Cancer, or the symbology of Cancer, the two sisters of the animal Cancer. So therefore, it has to be in 1969. It's so easy, huh? It's so easy.
Really?
Yeah, 1969.
Yes.
Yeah, Cancer. The astrological symbol of Cancer.
Man.
Yeah, 69, huh?
Oh.
Even Wikipedia or somebody else is doing it. Yeah, so it's just a coincidence. Yeah, remember. Yeah, I don't know if I have it. Yeah, no? It's just a coincidence.
Man.
Yeah, and Science Church that tells you that it's 4 billion years ago. Yeah, maybe 20 trillion years ago. Stands for the female, yeah. So Apollo male, then female. The moon landing 1969, being forecasted in 1968, of course. The first real movie was Trip to the Moon was made by Jesuit Georges Méliès. And the NASA, National Aeronautic and Space Administration, I think it is a military organization part of the U.S. Army, like Sharon Tate. Originals are by Satanist Jack Parsons, who performed Babylon workings by Crowley's Moonchart, JPL, Jet Propulsion Laboratory, from Caltech, JPL, Mission to Mars. Sending, what actually it means, mission means sending out agents of Jesuits, and Mars means the Roman god of war. That means the Jesuits are being sending out to make war for Rome. That's what it means. I could smell that in the case when they come out with the so-called news on the media system that now we have sent the first man to Mars, it's the beginning of war or genocide or what else on this earth. You only have to see the etymology of the words. Mission means a sending of Jesuits. That's it. And this is Stanley Kubrick here. Yeah, no, 2001, Odyssey and all the stuff, yeah. And he's been visited by members of the NASA. Yeah, they wanted to have some good ideas how to make something. But I highly doubt that Stanley Kubrick was that much involved in that project, because I highly doubt that project already has been made in the facility. No, not by cats, in the facility of Freemasons in the United States. Yeah. Because Buzz Aldrin was a Shriner and 33-degree Freemason at that time. And we talked about that quite before. Yeah, so when Sean Connery is just mocking here, or the production company is just mocking and having a good laugh on all the people who are just believing the staged moon landing. They do that on purpose because they get away with that, because people cannot differentiate between facts and fiction. In the movie Diamonds is also the reference to the Red Caro in the play cards, or actually a reference to Lucifer, because all material belongings are being handed over to Satan in this world. Sean Connery ends up in a factory owned by a character based on Howard Hughes. Doesn't he remind you at Aleister Crowley at least a bit?
Oh yeah, true.
Yeah,
mm-hmm. A little bit. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, who knows what this Crowley character was like? He died, wasn't it? Shortly,
1947, yeah.
Yeah, right at the end of World War II.
Yeah, right after the Roswell incident. He was so scared of all the aliens. No, just... Oh my, these movies, they tell you so much, but...
Oh yeah.
The Olympic rings of Tyler Desjardins.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, and of course that William White, 33, is a resident in the White House. Willard White is his character. The White House.
The WHYTE house.
Yeah, they dump you and they fool you, and could also mean that, Freemasons are in the White House, and 33 is in the White House, and we own the White House, and the White House is not that White House that you expect, because it's not white, it's been named after Mr. White, which is not a Freemason. Oh, it's so... But it's easy, huh? The moon landing is very easy, because it's the Roman god Apollo, the god of light, a male god, is being sent, the rocket, into Luna, so the female, to create a moon child. Moon child of moon goddess.
Isn't that what, I forget his name now, what was his name again? This cynical musician guy, Frank Zappa.
Mm-hmm.
He named his daughter Moonchild, didn't he?
I can't tell you this, but
yeah,
I would have to look it up.
For Moon Unit, it was Moon Unit. That's right.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So in Russia with Love, they had this Lee Harvey Oswald character coming from Russia afterwards as a patsy. And even in the first James Bond movie, in Dr. No, they tell you... Major Boothroyd, is it jetzt in the first or in the second? No, Dr. No, yeah. In Dr. No, they tell you it's nice and light in a lady's handbag. Yeah, even there, they tell you. 1962 it was. Nice and light in a lady's handbag. No stopping power, but that was 1962. So, once again, in the same case of Kennedy, where it happened in a Freemason temple called Dealey Plaza, they frame you. Nothing is as it happened, as it really happens. And they frame you with the moon landing. It's also a frame. It's all frame. It's all framing. You're set inside a frame and you cannot question the frame. You can only question the actors and the bullets and the flight path and the weight and what else. But you have to question every frame. And I'm questioning the frame on the frame set of Bruce Lee on the 20th of July. You see, we are talking about Hollywood, at least when we're talking about 1973 in Hong Kong with Warner Brothers, we're talking about Hollywood and Freemasons. And many people, or the majority of people, they really believe this absolutely bullshit about moon landing and Mars explorers and what else. Yeah. This is an entire industry based on illusions and on lies, and they're getting rewarded by Satan, of course. Yeah. Movies by David Bowie's son and what else? Space Odyssey. Even in Space Odyssey from 1968, it's about the moon. In the shadow of the moon. Diamonds are forever. In the shadow of the moon, yeah, sure. For an object which is designed by the Almighty Lord to send light down to the earth, it's very dark, I'd say, huh?
Yeah.
My. You can refute them with their own physics. Yeah.
I love that shot. On the
Yeah,
right.
me too. Yeah.
That's great.
Werner von Braun, so nobility in Germany, former Nazi inventor, look at his graveyard where he has a Psalm 19 on his gravestone. A leading where, in my humble opinion, he admits, or somebody admits, that it's just God's glory and God's creation, and don't believe all the lies that the so-called scientists putting into you. Walks through the Atlanta Fair and his diorama of the Apollo 11 moon landing. 11 meaning Genesis 11, the building of the Tower of Babel. That is the code for Freemasonry. 13 being the code of Osiris worship, 11 being the code of Freemasons in action, in building something. So 22nd of November in Dallas, in action. And when you come down to Snopes, fact check, they say that, oh yeah, this is photo exposed a fake moon landing, and people say, no, it is miscaptioned. Yeah. This is miscaptioned, this is complete, this is just a fair, this is not the moon landing. Ah, sure. Which is a decent hint.
Right.
Which is a decent hint. You see that at least I have made one frame for the moon landing in the Atlanta Fair.
Mm-hmm.
Look how close it is, September the 1st. September the 1st, 1969. You see something numerical?
Oh.
First we talked about 69 as
Cancer. Yeah, Cancer. Okay.
Yeah, that's the first one. The second one is coming up.
119. What about it?
No. September the 1st.
Oh, yes.
1969.
Oh. Wait. Oh, I see. Okay. I get it. It's just inverted. It's backwards.
Yeah, it's
9/11.
backwards, yeah.
Ah, yeah.
I did not see it at
Okay.
first glance. I just see it now.
Oh, my.
Yeah,
Wow.
I just see it now, Brett.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, so it's more easy if we would do it in another color here, that you see maybe here in orange, then you see
Oh, man.
what's it about.
And not only that, though, just the 119.
Yeah,
is
that's
backwards.
also you can do this, so you can have so much
Yeah.
combinations. That's really interesting.
Yeah. That's really something, though.
Look at the description here. A detailed reenactment of man's first walk on the moon, including authentic moon surface. Where do they come from? Authentic moon surface. Did they had a container with them? Did they had a big lorry mounted to the moon landing buggy or what? I do not know. A replica of the landing module. Come on, really, is that so hard to believe that they have all? I think the people only have a hard time in believing that they have been fooled because everybody is just talking the same. If they would have lied, then the Russians would have said something. No, they are all into that. At least since the founding of the United Nations in 1945, all are into that because all are being ruled from
yeah.
Rome.
Yeah.
Clear to make way for concrete, sand, and other materials, needing to build an authentic moon surface down to the minute details, including the footprints of the astronauts. Sorry. Ah, guys, really. Local gardening enthusiast planting flowers on that same replica moon surface. Ah, isn't that something? By Dan McGoyle. Mac is coming out of it's a name etymology from Scotland, by the way, but it's just a coincidence.
Yeah, that's right.
So once again, just a coincidence. First man on the moon, trip to the moon, all coincidences. If you don't believe it, maybe the moon is made out of cheese, then you're in the Wallace and Gromit comic character. They don't wear any masks on the moon. From the Earth to the Moon, 1958, from a Jules Verne novel of the same name, which also inspired a trip to the moon, which is very interesting because Jules Verne, that's very interesting. He was a French novelist, poet, and playwright. His collaborations with the publisher Pierre-Jules Hetzel led to the creation of the Voyage and etc. Pierre-Jules Hetzel was a French editor and publisher. He's best known, etc. And look at his pose. It's the hidden hand of the Freemasons. So he was being promoted by Freemasons, Mr. Jules Verne. He's been called the father of science fiction. Anybody wonders? Houston, we have a problem. No, Earth, we have a problem. Apollo 13. 13 is the veneration of Osiris. Where to start? Where to start with all the deceptions here? Apollo 11, 11. Apollo means the mission of the... Apollo 11 means the Apollo Freemason mission. Was practically forgotten until 2007. 2007. Destination moon landing, rocket to the moon, 1929. Fritz Lang's wife. Fritz Lang masterpiece. Yeah, it's all masterpieces. Despicable Me. my. Where to start? Bruce Lee, maybe. Live and Let Die is a 1973 spy film. It's the 8th of the James Bond series, produced by Eon Productions, so Order of the Golden Dawn, and the first to star Roger Moore as the fictional MI6 agent James Bond. Yeah, so they already had a new Bond after the old Bond after Mr. Lazenby. Now you can wonder. Because now I have to enhance that screen. You see any similarity? In the 1973 Freemason James Bond movie, Live and Let Die, the villain has an artificial hand which is threatening James Bond Roger Moore to cut off his pinky finger. And now compare that to the 1973 movie of Bruce Lee, Enter the Dragon, where the villain has an artificial metal hand. But that must be a coincidence, right? There are two companies who are producing Hollywood movies or big movies around the world are coming up with the same idea. It can only be coincidence. Right? He's having the left arm cut off or being implemented with that scissor-like or knife-like attribution here. That's his left-hand path, the same as in the Kung Fu series of David Carradine, the left-hand path, the path of the devil. Are you following me?
Yeah, it's like Mushroom when she gets hungry.
Oh, okay. So shall we do a break?
No. I already fed her. It's
okay.
funny. I already took my 3-minute break and
Yeah.
I fed her. And
Yeah, I think that you will be very much surprised when I now switch to another hilarious coincidence.
Go ahead.
Can you remember the 39-step spy movie of 1935 from Jesuit-trained Alfred Hitchcock, where I supposed it has to do with the steps of Freemasonry, although the official script from an original spy has been heavily modified. And I found the 39 steps colorized this week. And I thought it would be much more appropriate to show a colorized version because it looks more lively and more modern. The 39 Steps is a 1915 adventure novel by the Scottish Scotland Yard, Scottish author John Buchanan. The story about a man arrived in London from Rhodesia, making a fortune, and being written by John Buchan, who was a first Baron, who was Order of St. Michael, St. George, so officially a Catholic, Royal Victorian Order, Order of Knighthood, Catholic, Order of Companions of Our, Privacy Council, so he could also have private conversations with the Queen or with the King. Yeah, so this highly decorated guy was not only a usual writer. In the same case as Ian Fleming, it isn't for the cases of the James Bond movies. With the outbreak of the First World War, Buchan went on to write for the British War Propaganda Bureau. He continued to write fiction and in 1915 published his most famous work, The 39 Steps, a spy thriller set just prior to the First World War. The novel featured Buchan's oft-used hero Richard Hannay, whose character was based on Edmund Ironside, a friend of Buchan from his days in South Africa. He was a senior officer of the British Army who served as the chief of the Imperial General Staff during the first year of the Second World War. In June 16, Buchan was sent to the Western Front to be attached to the British Army General Headquarters Intelligence Section to assist with drafting official communiques for the press. On arrival, he received a field commission as a second lieutenant in the Intelligence Corps. So that man is a Secret Service spy. And he wrote that novel 39 Steps, which was my initial start into thinking that there is something wrong with the entire world, because I've seen that movie at the age of 12 or so. Yeah, so a left-hand path, here's a right-hand, here's a left-hand path in the case of Bruce Lee. And this is the official last scene that he ever shot. Although later on he decided that he wanted to have an extra scene, which was then put at the beginning of the movie, when he was fighting as a monk outside. But this is the official end of the movie. The scene in the mirror room with the villain, and that villain, of course, meet his death. But both cases, they have an artificial arm. In the case of James Bond and the case of Bruce Lee. But the movie Live and Let Die, and look to the release dates. Yeah, the release date of Live and Let Die is after they stopped the production of the 1973 Bruce Lee movie Enter the Dragon. Remember?
Yes.
The life insurance policy on Bruce Lee was activated on the 5th of June and on the 5th of May 1973. And 5 days later, on May the 10th, when he was officially in a dubbing room in Golden Harvest, he had the first attack, or the first, almost, almost attack on his life. Yeah, so that he was rushed to the hospital in time.
Yeah.
So nobody outside the production companies could have seen Live and Let Die on the time when they have made the script to Enter the Dragon, because Enter the Dragon started in February, March 1973. This coincidence can only happen when somebody has access to the script of Live and Let Die. I hope you all can follow.
Oh, yeah, that's right. And go ahead, Michael.
I hope you can follow me. Yeah, so...
Yeah, but he had already mentioned, you had pointed out in, what was it, 60-something about the letter he wrote to his wife saying, with
he wanted
love,
to be the China James Bond, yeah.
China James Bond, yeah, right.
So you can, and when you then know that James Bond is a character of John Dee and Secret Service and Freemason and all the stuff, yeah, you see that you have already Freemason ties in it. As well as you know that Warner Brothers, Jack Warner, is 33-degree Freemason. So somebody who has written the script for Enter the Dragon came, and this the official name is Michael Allen. He's not officially affiliated with Freemasonry, but he has to have some ideas to come up with the same thing as in the James Bond movie of that same year. I wouldn't say anything if that was 10 years earlier or what else. But for the same time period. You see, the release of Live and Let Die, release date June the 27th. Yeah? That is 4 weeks before the release of Enter the Dragon. And 3 weeks before the death of Bruce Lee. These are no coincidences, and it gets worse. When I know that the 39 steps have been written by an author who has been accompanied with the British royalty as serving a knighthood, then I know that he's a Catholic, and 39 steps may officially be the script of real steps on steps of the stairs, but the Jesuit Alfred Hitchcock has modified that script extremely. And when I see that the shot is coming, the fatal shot for Mr. Memory then is coming from a lodge, there is much speculation on my side that it has something to do with Freemasonry. So now you take this picture here with Live and Let Die, 1973 Bond movie of somebody who's trying to cut off as a threat Roger Moore's James Bond. Pinky finger. Let's look once again to the 39 steps from 1935. So now he sees there is someone in the lodge who's behind the curtain. You see the symbolism here, behind the curtain in the lodge.
Oh, right.
There you got it.
Missing a pinky.
He is missing the pinky finger. See? These are no coincidences. He's missing the pinky finger of his right hand. Like in Live and Let Die, from the villain, the threat to James Bond. In case that he talks, or in case that he's, giving a false answer, yeah, they will cut off his pinky finger, at least partially. That's what part of the script in Alfred Hitchcock or Buchanan's novel The 39 Steps. And this is one of the results of years of research. It's a special phrase. It's called finger shortening, a Japanese ritual to atone for offenses to another, a way to punish or to show sincere apology or remorse to another by means of amputating portions of one's little finger. In modern times, it is primarily performed by the Yakuza, one of the most prominent Japanese criminal organizations. Meaning And if somebody has lost a part of his limb, part of his finger, part of something else, he can also have a connection to a secret society as a kind of punishment, as a kind of visual appearance that somebody was a traitor or just told too much. In the content of the 39 steps, it's the hint that the hero of the victim, that the hero of the movie has in recognizing the head of the organization, which has the pinky finger missing.
Excuse me, I take your place, please.
What are you doing? Listen, I found him. He's up in that box.
You can't do anything about it.
So it's a threat that if you tell something wrong, somebody will cut off your limbs, your head, your body parts, whatsoever.
Take him by yourself. I'll wait till the end of it.
And that's been shown here with the sign of the missing pinky. That's shown here in the sign of the missing pinky. And that's what even caused the death of the one who's telling the secrets to the general audience. Let me just have a... Yeah, because that is mismemory. Yeah, that is, if you would like to say so, an ancient form of mind control. So that somebody who has been told a secret has stored it inside his head, and when a special code is being presented, a special word, color, symbol, whatsoever, he can reproduce that information. But that can also be somebody to avoid any scripture, yeah, so that you don't have any written documents about something. So he's now looking to the one on the lodge, so the head is pointing to a watch, so that watch yourself, or just we are into a date, yeah, to meet, and then of course it's obvious that these two have got a connection. Now police of course is rushing in, trying to put our brave hero out of the way. But as it is a movie, of course, he's been allowed to raise the last question, so to speak. And the last question that he asked Mr. Memory, as the holder of the secret, is what are the 39 steps? You can't hear it, but I will show it because in color it's much more.
Where's the capital of... What are the 39 steps? Come on, answer up! What are the 39 steps?
The 39 Steps is an organization of spies, collecting information on behalf of the Foreign Office of...
So that's my clue in the case of that movie. Coincidence, of course. If you tell the wrong answer, you will lose parts of your body or you will lose your life. And the similarity in the timeline between the James Bond movie and the Bruce Lee movie is so obvious that the entire fabrication of the 20th of July doesn't hold up, in my humble opinion. It doesn't hold up. There are too many...
Oh, interesting. So this is game... Oh, no, wait. Enter the Dragon?
Mm-hmm.
This is Enter the Dragon.
Yeah. That's the only movie, that's the last movie that he finished, and it's the only movie with...
Last scene he did, you said. Right?
This is the... according to the official script, this is the last scenes... the last fight scenes. There are some scenes, but where just helicopters are rushing in. But this is the last fight scene. Yes, yes. And somebody who has written that script has to have some ties with other companies, because I can't imagine myself that two companies are coming up with almost the same idea, that somebody has an artificial mechanical substitution for his arm. Sorry. I don't buy that. I don't buy that. For me, that's too close also for the timeline. So these two movies have been made almost simultaneously. They must be made in the beginning of 1973. Officially, the Bruce Lee movie should have been published a little bit later, but due to the death of Bruce Lee, they decided in Hong Kong to make the premiere a few days after his funeral. And it was not well received because many people were totally questioning everything about Bruce Lee, and the movie was too American for their taste, because Bruce Lee, as a Chinese American actor, he was fighting a Chinese character. But what do I know? I just saw it and I said, that can't be true. Yeah, so that is so close. That is so close. You see that it's always the same, that it's just hilarious. Yeah, you see that when you come down to 1971, Diamonds Are Forever, with the moon landing, the next movie is 1973, Live and Let Die, and that is so close to Enter the Dragon. Live and Let Die was chosen as the next Ian Fleming novel to be adapted because screenwriter, and now we got at least one name of the screenwriter of James Bond, had thought it would be daring to use black villains, as the Black Panthers and other racial movements were active at this time. And I said, what do I read here? Because the Black Panthers, that was just the organization which was evil in the eyes of Charles Manson, and that's the reason why he wrote Pig officially, or they wrote Pig on with the Sharon Tate's blood on the door of Roman Polanski's and Sharon Tate's home at 10050 Cielo Drive. What a coincidence, huh? My. There are many connections between many other Freemason projects like Paul McCartney and the Beatles and 007. Because Paul McCartney of course, is Scottish, a mind control singer, and he was promoting, or they were promoting LSD and Lucifer, Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds. And of course, the Beatles were also the subject of the entire Manson spoof that their White Album has contained some secret codes. Yeah, they have promoted their album and published their album on the same day as Kennedy was being shot, 33, so Freemasonry. So where to start? They have promoted Aleister Crowley on the Sgt. Pepper. Sgt. Pepper is just the same as Devil's Pepper in Rosemary's Baby von Polanski, so they're all in it. They're all in it. It's everywhere. Yeah, nobody questions anything. You see, when Susan Atkins is member of the Manson family and was member or is member of the Satanic Church of Anton LaVey and is a topless dancer. What a coincidence, huh? Yeah. Charlie's Angels, I call them. And you think that these are contract killers, huh? Topless girls, and then they're being slashing down hanged Sharon Tate. Yeah, you have to believe everything. Yeah, Charlie is ordering from behind, like the Charlie who's never been seen in the official Charlie Angels. You see, they are showing it to you. Mm-hmm. Yeah, look at that girl, Susan Atkins, yeah? Look at that girl. Dress her in some fancy outfit, yeah, and everybody falls in love with her. So she could have had a very famous or rich guy. She does not need to follow a Charles Manson out in the desert with filthy clothes. I don't buy that, sorry. I don't buy it that she is behind bars for decades. I don't buy that. I don't buy anything what the public is telling you. You see that the Wikipedia and the public wants to tell you that they had a moon landing in 1969.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
Yeah, and she talks about becoming a newborn Christian. How often have I heard that claim? Yeah, I think that
way too often.
ask her 2 questions of the Bible, and I think she will fail miserably. But in the end, only God knows if anybody is a newborn Christian. But for truth's sake, I highly doubt that she have murdered anybody. Yeah. So these are just actors. Now this is a book, Child of Satan, Child of God, by Susan Atkins. Yeah. Once again, God has no copyright. And I came across, and we are not even in The Man with the Golden Gun, I came across the fact, and I said that is very interesting, because all the connections for Steve McQueen, for example, I know from the book that Weird Tales of Laurel Canyon from Dave McGowan, I came across the fact that Steve McQueen was a U.S. Marine. Yeah, a special protection for the American president. Haha, interesting, huh? But everybody who's affiliated with the Laurel Canyon and Hollywood must have something to do with the army, huh? It seems. Steve McQueen, who was Bruce Lee's role model, he sells his Ferrari for $2.3 million, and don't think that I'm going into his car. No, what I was just trying to tell that there are some pieces of the puzzle which have to be put together. This is his license plate. But it must be, of course, where is my famous quote? Yeah, it must be a coincidence. He likes just James Bond movies. You know that famous quote of Bruce Lee? When the Rolls Royce arrives, I know exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to drive down to the waterfront and call Roman Polanski and Steve McQueen on the car phone. And when they ask where I'm calling from, I say from the back seat of my Rolls Royce overlooking the junks in Hong Kong Harbor. No, we are talking about the Roman Polanski who is in the case of Sharon Tate, and we know that Sharon Tate is a total fraud and the US Army. And you don't think for 1 minute that Roman Polanski does not know anything about it. So Roman Polanski is in the entire spoof as well. Remember, he's the director of Rosemary's Baby. And the Beatles must have known that before about the Devil's Pepper, because they have named the album Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Heart Club Band, when Sgt. Pepper actually, of course, is who? Is Satan. So, Bruce Lee calls his favorite actor, Steve McQueen, who was a U.S. Marine with special duties in the Second World War, and Roman Polanski, the Roman Polish guy, Roman Polanski, who is deeply affiliated with the United States Army, as his favorite director. And now you count 2 and 2 together. And for the virginity of Bruce Lee, I first suppose that he does not know anything which goes on in Laurel Canyon, because he's only 24 hours busy with his martial arts, and he does not know anything about anything except martial arts. A Chinese philosophy, making movies, being part of the big illusion. Come on, it is just Hollywood. Susan Atkins with great clothes and Van Houten, I can't remember her first name now. Yeah. These girls, they could be models. They could have millionaires as husbands. They don't have to sit in a desert. My. These are all actors, in my humble opinion, being paid by the US military or a secret service, maybe. Yeah, as well as she was part of the Anton LaVey false church, the Satanic Church and all the stuff, Church of Satan. This is all distraction from the real devilish church or the Whore of Babylon, the Roman Catholic Church. I'm sorry to say that, but it's just a fact. All the Protestant reformers knew that. And nowadays, everybody knows everything about the new Tesla model, the new Formula One, the new soccer games, the new tennis, the new chess player, and what else, and nothing about truth, nothing about the Bible. And there's much to it. There's much to it. You see that he is a director and an actor. He was an actor in the movie where he acted together with Sharon Tate in the movie The Fearless Vampire Hunters. He directed that movie and he acted in the movie as the student of the professor, or of the professed. It's all a big ritual. Yeah, Abbey Road, Master Mason MM with the Beatle Capri in the background. Yeah, McCartney dead hoax. I never bought that stuff. Yeah, because he's barefoot. Barefoot means the Scottish Rite. McCartney, of course. Aquarius Road to New Age to Crowley's Abbey of Thelema, Paul McCartney, Barefoot, Scottish Rite, Start of Paul is Dead Rumors, Death Rebirth as Stage Illusion of the Wizard. Welcome to Aleister Crowley once again, whose symbol is also some kind of way being represented in Flash Gordon, but Flash is also a synonym of I saw Satan fell like a lightning from sky from the Bible. My, where to start? Yeah, the Beatles with their false help flags. These are just false flags. These are really false flags. Yeah, this is actually a ritual, nothing else. These are Freemasons. Paul McCartney, Wings in concert. Wings and the Beatles. Yeah, together you got the Winged Beatle from Aleister Crowley. They have Crowley depicted on their Sgt. Pepper's album, which came before the movie Rosemary's Baby with the Devil's Pepper. So, the Devil's Pepper, Sgt. Pepper is the devil. So what are the Beatles then? Not the Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Heart Clubs Band, the Beatles, the Devil's Lonely Heart Clubs Band.
Wow. Yep.
And now Paul McCartney has a cold left hand. Come on, really. When you made so much, hundreds of sessions, yeah? Now you see that sometimes I think that must be obvious. Yeah, one eye symbolism. Eye of Horus. It's the Dutch version, that's why they have a royal shell symbol. Yeah, that's not hell, but NUGV. N-U-G-V. Yeah. it's hilarious. It's so hilarious. Yeah. It's so hilarious. Yeah. Yeah, it's an innocent boy band, right? My. It's also incredible. It's really incredible.
Mm-hmm.
And that website isn't that good, but I just didn't want to copy anything. The Beatles revolver, when John Lennon has been shot with a revolver in 1980, huh? Must be a coincidence. Yellow Submarine with Manu Cornuta, the Devil's Horns. Ah, maybe Bruce Lee was also a Beatles fan. Yeah, sure. Oh my, where to start? Yeah, so the Beatles, there you got it, 666, Devil's Horns. Ah, double 666. Yeah. It's where to start? Where to start? Where to start all the stuff? Yeah, Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Heart Clubs Band. When the Devil's Pepper is Satan, yeah, then it's just Satan's Lonely Heart Clubs Band. And I never liked them that much, really.
No, neither did I.
Yeah, the Beatles' Sexy Sadie can also be a synonym for Sadie Atkins. John Lennon. So much people. So the release date in the United States of Live and Let Die was 1973, and in the United Kingdom, 12th of July. Remember, Hong Kong being under administration of the United Kingdom in 1973. So that movie of the new James Bond with that artificial hand guy came officially 8 days before the death of Bruce Lee. And you think that George Lazenby, the old James Bond from 1969, 2 movies ago, was the big deal in Hong Kong? Pfft, come on. By the way, Charles Manson's dad was Colonel Walker Scott. He had worked for the Baltimore and Ohio Railway and was member of the Elks Lodge Fraternal Brotherhood. The Elks are a Masonic-type lodge, probably allied to the Freemasons. Are the Elks an intelligence front? Who knows? Oh, a rabbit hole. You see, Sharon Tate's dad is Army. There are no coincidences. There are no coincidences everywhere. But we have been fooled by media, by lies, by music. Yeah. You have Freemasonic references in the 007 movies as well. So, what's the deal with George Lazenby? Nothing. Because there are no pictures of Lazenby together with Bruce Lee. Although Lazenby claimed that he was in Bruce Lee's home. But he could not get any specific details. However, and now we're coming back to Pop Cult Master, Bruce Lee was more interested in the role of Lieutenant Hip in The Man with the Golden Gun. This, his opinion is, would have been a way to accentuate his interest in ordering a gold Rolls Royce. Yeah. David Carradine, we know the hanged man on this Thailand hotel where he has been found in a hanged post, if that is correct, because on that picture I can't indicate anything. He saw, David Carradine, quote on Bruce Lee is, I saw the movie, and he said, we're up against the James Bond of martial arts. Mm-hmm. Says somebody whose dad has played together with Bruce Lee in The Green Hornet, John Carradine, who was a member of OTO, Ordo Templi Orientis, an organization of Aleister Crowley, where Aleister Crowley belonged to. And OTO, being the same thing in America, what just once belonged in 1942 for a period of about 10 years to Jack Parsons, JPL Laboratories, Jet Propulsion Laboratories, affiliated with the NASA. But must be a coincidence. And that quote that we're up against the James Bond of martial arts came from his director, and David Carradine said, no, Jerry, we're up against the James Dean of martial arts. And he's talking about here with Richard Jerome Jerry Thorpe in the United States. Yeah, and for the Kung Fu session, an eye for an eye. Oh, has something to do with the Bible, maybe? An eye for an eye? Mr. Thorpe has received a Primetime Emmy. That is Richard Thorpe. His quote is, we're up against the James Bond of martial. Where to start? Thorpe is also known as the original director of The Wizard of Oz. Oh. Where would you like to start? He was fired after 2 weeks of shooting because it was felt that his scenes did not have the right air of fantasy about them. Or maybe he was not initiated that much, huh? They gave Judy Garland a blonde wig and a courtesy baby doll makeup. They'd make her look like a girl in her late teens. Yeah. Maybe there was a pedophiles everywhere, I do not know. But Thorpe has a star on the Hollywood Walk of Shame, so that's it. We're talking about the missing pinky.
Really?
The missing pinky in the 39 steps, right?
Yeah.
I came across that video of about if you see this car run. The 3 numbers ending on a 3 were being used in the 1990s with big limousines from the Japanese gangsters called Yakuza to indicate that they are members of that secret society cult of Yakuza. So these numbers were lined up to 3, and these were very popular numbers then of the 33, huh? Of the Yakuza, secret society, like the Freemasons, yeah. Sure. And I came across this week to that video here, and there are no coincidences, really. I'm every time I'm just being bombarded with videos, and I see all the context in it, and from the company who's worshiping that sun, and. That author said if you saw a license plate that said 333 or 4 times 3, you couldn't order that number. Yeah, but it just belongs to the Japanese society, and at least the Japanese dragon has 3 claws. Yeah, because that's the reason why they have all the endings of 3. They feel them lucky because the dragon is the mightiest animal. In Japanese culture, the dragon has 3 claws. So if you had tattoos of 3s and coupled them with them, somebody has also 666 license plates, and these were not the good scene guys. Mm-hmm. My, what a world, huh? aiming on 3.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He had trouble with one of these Yakuza's gangs because they have infringements on copyrights on I can't remember, automobile designs or what else, yeah. And somebody has to tell him that to stop, and they found an agreement, but he could have been killed. And now you see here dragons. Yeah, in the Japanese you got 3 claws. Just wanted to. Yeah. So it's no coincidence when they have introduced the Ford Mustang on the Goldfinger stuff, because Lee Iacocca was the man in charge who had to destroy the John F. Kennedy Lincoln limousine, because that was the location of the murder. It was not Dealey Plaza somewhere behind a tree. No. It was inside the limousine, and the limousine serving as so-called, in my humble opinion, the altar of that ritual. And Lee Iacocca was the one who was then in a contract with the Ford company, and it was later then, few months later after the assassination in the beginning of 1964, he then could introduce the creation of the Ford Mustang. Yeah, and he made himself a worldwide name. But you have to be aware of that behind the scenes, he was a Knight of Malta. Yeah? He was a servant of the Pope.
Yep.
So everything has been planned, yeah. So to solve the John F. Kennedy murder, you would have to have the limousine.
Yes.
I think I knew who did it. I'm not 100% sure about the throat shot. It could have been the driver, but there are so many possibilities. But they have gotten rid of the limousine, and that's the best evidence that they are into it. Yeah, all the FBI, all these companies, they are into it. Yeah, so this is from Goldfinger once again. If you haven't seen the 007 episode of John F. Kennedy, I would highly suggest you to do this, because there are so many similarities. Yeah, but now we're coming into The Man with the Golden Gun. The book was loosely adapted, as the 9th film was then playing with Fleming's cousin Christopher Lee as Scaramanga, who was a really Secret Service agent. Oh, yeah. And now the plot is not Caribbean anymore, because we are now in 1974. Let's look it up for just truth's sake. Live and Let Die. What's the next movie? Golden. Man with the Golden Gun. Oh no, not again. Really, they are mocking us here, huh? They are really mocking us. Can it be? The sheriff is called J.W. Pepper. Oh, what else? So, The Man with the Golden Gun, 1974. That movie has been released in December 1974, and Bruce Lee was interested in playing a part in that movie. In the then to the new 1974 movie of James Bond. Not a B-rated actor like George Lazenby. So, Bond locates his villain in Jamaican bordello. Scaramanga in the end, so the killer, or Christopher Lee, the real-time Secret Service agent, lulls James Bond, Roger Moore, off guard by appealing to his British sense of morality by not killing in cold blood and allowing him to recite a final prayer, and shoots him with a golden derringer hidden in his palm, loaded with a bullet laced with enough snake venom to kill a horse. Remember last session, or second to last session, with snake venom. What a coincidence, huh? Bond is hit... Huh? What a coincidence, huh? Did you say something?
No, I didn't.
Oh. Bond is hit but returns fire and shoots Scaramanga 5 times. I will. Killing him at last before collapsing into unconsciousness. Yeah. So that would be a character that a recent James Bond film.
Yeah, they I don't understand these Bond movies because they're always jumping all over the place, like they're all over the map, you know.
Hmm. Yeah, sure, because he's an MI6 agent, he's supposed to be outside of Great Britain.
Mm-hmm.
It's just loosely based on the novel. The film starred Roger Moore as Bond and Fleming's cousin Christopher Lee as Scaramanga. The film moved away from Jamaica to the Far East. Can you tell me why?
Yeah, right. That's what I was going to ask, because that didn't pan out that way, did it?
Mm-hmm.
Right. Mm-hmm.
The plot also changed and used the 1973 energy crisis as a backdrop of the film, allowing the MacGuffin of the Solis agitator to be introduced. So they will officially tell you that, it's just a coincidence because we have to be modern. Yeah, we have to be up to date. Mm-hmm.
Oh, what about the adjutor? You mean coadjutor?
No. It's you
I'm
have
just
seen that.
kidding. It's a joke.
Okay. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Like a Jesuit coadjutor.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah, McQueen also. Steve McQueen, yeah? Interesting, huh? McQueen, yeah? McQueen are English language surnames derived from Scottish Gaelic. What a coincidence, yeah? So the role model for being the most famous and best earning actor, Steve McQueen, also his name is coming from Scotland. My. You see that if you don't see all the coincidences, yeah. We have such more coincidences coming up now. Because we're just in the session already, yeah. So it does not make sense if it is 2 hours or 12. So one of the first sessions is very interesting because Christopher Lee, as a secret agent, has a special island, of course. He got all the money in his hand because he asked 1 million for a job. 1 million was more money in 1974, obviously, than today. And so the one who's just asking him for a duel, another killer or what else, is just entering his special room, which is... How can it be a mirror room? What a coincidence, because that depicts the same ending of Enter the Dragon, which we have just seen. Yeah. So now Christopher Lee is in a room of mirrors. My. Again, it's such a coincidence. Yeah. And Christopher Lee cannot get grasp of his golden gun because it is a mirror reflection. Yeah. That's the problem with it. And that is, of course, a reference to Bruce Lee. But it gets worse, because somebody has been then smashed into a mirror. And the movie has switched from Caribbean to Far East. And what else than Hong Kong, the city where Bruce Lee has been raised, not born, but raised. And the city where he has been had died. And the city where he had his big successes, and Macau, which is very interesting because we have just learned a few hours ago that Macau was the first 1560 location where the Jesuits were landing and were just starting their mission into China. Yeah.
So Michael, the movie starts out in would that be north of China? I mean in the northern regions of China, and then they moved to Macau, and Macau is near Hong Kong, is it?
Macau is west of Hong Kong, actually, on the dry land, yeah. And Hong Kong is a peninsula, yeah. So Hong Kong has the harbor, yeah, fragrant harbor. I can't remember that movie. It is just a few weeks ago that I saw that movie. You will know much more of it than I at the moment.
It starts out in that what would you call it, island little place that the character, I forget, Scaramanga, is it? Mm-hmm. Where he's living, it starts out in his headquarters, and he has that visitor that comes. And he ends up, trying to kill, forget his name.
Bond?
Scaramanga.
Yeah.
Which is actually Christopher Lee.
Yeah.
Bruce Lee. Christopher Lee.
Yeah. Also very interesting. And that Christopher
Go
Lee
ahead.
plays the villain, but you see that you have to also to take in consideration the 30 Christopher Lee sessions we did. That Christopher Lee met Ian Fleming in person, huh? So they knew-
He's his cousin.
He's his cousin, yes, and they met in person in a pub.
They know each other intimately well. Then I would.
Yeah. Christopher
Since
Lee
they
also.
were children.
No, Christopher Lee also only admits that they met in a pub. At least that's what I have read. But so be
Who
it.
knows?
So be it.
Who
Yeah.
knows?
So be it. Christopher Lee is not his entire name. Yeah, you see, that's just a play of words also. Yeah, you see that Sir Christopher Frank Carandini Lee means he is from Italian descent, and he is a commander of the British Empire, just as his fictional character of James Bond. So he's the real Secret Service agent.
Oh, he's Italian.
Yeah, you were present when we did all the sessions. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's a long time ago when I had no beard and no gray hairs. Yeah,
Right.
Yeah. He was also playing the Lord of the Rings and all this stuff. Yeah. So coming back now to Scaramanga, it is so obvious that everything has been set here to the martial arts or kung fu craze. Everybody was kung fu fighting, which was a big #1 hit in the United States, also I think in 1974, the same year that movie came. So they wanted to do something of kung fu, which is interesting because we have some sources who say that Bruce Lee was in to play the Asian counterpart or the Asian colleague actually of James Bond in that movie. Okay, this is the Hong Kong Macau Hydrofoil Company Limited, Far East. Yeah, of course, it's very interesting because it has to do something with trade. Hydrofoil.
Hydrofoil, wasn't that that was the ship, remember that high-speed watercraft? Hydrofoil. It's the type of travel. It's high-speed ocean travel, Michael.
Mm-hmm.
Hydrofoil.
Yeah, I'm just looking it up here, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah, you're right.
And that's the ship they were on when
okay, yeah.
James Bond was under the pursuit of this woman you see in the frame.
A hydrofoil is a lifting surface of foil that operates in water. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Right. So it was just a
now
company.
I got it. Yeah. Thank you so much. Okay, so that is
but still there's a connection there because it's hydrochloride. Yeah, still.
That's just my perception, you see.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah. So this is just the big one.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, sorry, wrong order. And this is Britt Ekland in a Morris Garage Spider. And Britt Ekland was the wife of Peter Sellers, who was the lead actor in A Shot in the Dark, when they have made a spoof about this bullet, and this is coming from a little Italian weapon, a Beretta 25 automatic, from Peter Sellers, who was a Freemason. So she was married to a Freemason, and there are researchers out there who are claiming that she is not only playing a Secret Service asset, but that she was actually in MI5, MI6 somewhere, when her husband is a Freemason and he's an actor. In a movie of Blake Edwards, the Pink Panther series, A Shot in the Dark, and Blake Edwards being the protege, the mentor of the second husband of Bruce Lee's widow called Tom Bleecker. So much coincidences here, huh? But it gets worse. Oh. Also the fire gets worse. Okay. Of course, as we are in Hong Kong, Rolls-Royce is the symbol of wealth.
That's right.
Yeah, that's why this hotel has several Rolls-Royce cars at their disposal. Yeah, it's very interesting because now I see that I was so smart to incorporate the lines in the description of the file. 007 Mirror Gun 8, green Rolls-Royce. There can't be any of them in Hong Kong, Roger Moore says. And her reply then is,
They're all from the hotel.
all courtesy in Hong Kong.
Yeah.
All courtesy cars belong to the hotel. Yeah. Next one's coming up. Okay, there I was lost for words. Obviously, yeah,
Yeah, she pulls a gun coming out of the shower.
yeah. Mirror once again.
Bottoms up strip club or whatever.
Yeah. And somebody is ordering ginger ale, which is very interesting because I think that was also the Asian guy who was ordering ginger ale, if I remember correctly. Because
Mr. Hip, was it?
yeah, because the last two sodas or the last two drinks that Bruce Lee allegedly had was ginger beer and a 7-Up. And now they're speaking about ginger ale here, but that could be far-fetched. But I always thought myself, then I told you that 7-Up also was common to mix it with LSD in these times, with Timothy Leary when they had the recording with Ashra Temple of 7-Up. Okay, next one. This is the introduction of the Chinese equivalent to James Bond, or the Asian equivalent. This is Lieutenant Hip, HIP, for certain reasons. But I'm not switching now between pictures and the script because then everything will crash. Yeah, so next time. This is happening here. This scene is happening where James Bond, Roger Moore is awaiting his contact, is happening at the Golden Dragon Company. Of course.
Yeah, the Golden Dragon, like Golden Harvest.
Golden Harvest with a dragon, yeah. Golden Dragon Company, yeah. What a coincidence, yeah. You had the same mindset as I am, yeah. Yeah. Now it's 5 minutes past 10.
What's with the little peace sign there?
Yeah, that's could also be Mercedes-Benz.
Oh, Mercedes.
Could be anything. I do not know.
Right.
But I think that's also not a coincidence here. But I haven't evaluated that further. What that actually could mean.
It's not a peace sign. It's a Mercedes-Benz
Maybe
sign.
I do not know. It's a Swiss.
Yes,
it's
it
a
does
Swiss.
look
It's
like
a Swiss
it,
clock. It's a Rolex, of course. Yeah. So it's a hint to Switzerland. But maybe 10:05 tells you something. 6. I do not know at the moment.
Right.
So that's the bottom up, what you are talking about.
Yeah.
Of course, that's what you remembered. What I found very interesting is that pattern, right?
Oh my, look at that. Checkerboard.
Checkerboard, like Freemasonry, yeah?
Yeah, right.
Yeah. And what does Satan? He turns everything around. He's the adversary, yeah? So bottoms up, yeah?
Right.
Yeah,
right.
turn everything around. It's, yeah. Once again, Golden Dragon. Yeah, this is Lieutenant Hip identifying himself, overruling the local police. Yeah, you have to imagine that he's from the stature and from the face, he's very close to Bruce Lee, I think. So this is the, what else? Godfather, I can't remember. Somebody.
This is Mr. Fat or whatever they call him.
Yeah, he says, take Mr. Bond to school. Not to learn anything.
Oh, we're gonna kill him. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
About
Take Mr. Bond to school.
The
Yeah.
midget was gonna kill him. Yeah.
Yeah, and then it's no ordinary school, but it's a karate school or something else. And you clearly see in that shot that it's all fake because he cannot hit that guy from that distance. Yeah. And then in the end, you see Mr. Scaramanga, Christopher Lee, nephew of or relative of Ian Fleming. You see with a laser gun that reminded me much of Goldfinger. Yeah, at the end with the laser, or at the script from Queen about Jacqueline Kennedy, Killer Queen, Dynamite with laser beam.
Oh yeah, right.
It reminded me very much to Enter the Dragon. But
Yes.
there's much more to it. You see, this is a gesture of silence and Harpocrates, and also a gesture of Freemasonry. Yeah, And once again, you got this spiral eye here, one eye symbolism here, and a spiral, which is also a goddess. And you got this mirror room, which has several meanings, in my humble opinion. That's the line of pictures from that movie. And now I get back to the script, because I thought it was very, 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 very strange. Because that picture here with the spiral and the doors, that reminded me of that book, The Doors of Perception, which has, of course, a resemblance to the United States Army for the Doors, the band The Doors, founded on Jim Morrison, whose father was an Army, United States Army. He was the commander of the boat of the Tom King incident, which officially started the Vietnam War. The Doors of Perception is an autobiographical book written by Aldous Huxley. Remember that Huxley met Crowley in Berlin, Aleister Crowley? Published in 1954, it elaborates on psychedelic experience under the influence of mescaline in May 1953. And that reminded me, the Doors of Perception, of this, of these doors shown here in that movie. I said, oh, that's very close to the actual book cover on the Doors of Perception. I really am disappointed at the moment, because I thought I had seen it somewhere. This is the wrong cover.
Oh. Look at that.
Maybe that's bigger. I do not know.
Yeah, that's right.
So now you compare this with
right.
So we talked about this. Macau, Jesuits. Macau means Jesuits. My humble opinion, Bruce Lee Paradise. Yeah, Bruce Lee, who was the one who was introducing Sharon Tate, or in that fake movie here, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. In the book here, weird scenes inside the canyon. But what's mentioned here is her husband at the time of the 1960s. Oh, where was that? Ethereal Freemason. Here, there it is. Larry Hagman, presidential brother-in-law Peter Lawford, which is very interesting because it's rated from Kennedy. Fresh from his alleged involvement in covering up the murder of Marilyn Monroe. We have not talked about that in the Kennedy session, but Peter Lawford is also been visible after the killing of the President Kennedy on the stairs together with Robert F. Kennedy. So there is so much going on behind the scene. Dennis Hopper, Ryan O'Neill, Mira Farrow, Ethereal Freemason Peter Sellers. So weird scenes inside the canyon. Dave McGowan has found out that Peter Sellers, so the husband of Britt Eklund, was actually Freemason. So there you see from the distance, he could never have touched his skin, his chin, sorry. And that is a close resemblance here to the error in the movie Enter the Dragon. Because in the Enter the Dragon, Bruce Lee instructs a student at the Shaolin Temple, Enter the Dragon, never to get your eyes off the opponent. And what does he do when he's bowing down to Enter the Dragon villain of O'Hara? Yeah, he's bowing down and he's not having contact with his eyes. And I think that's what that movie here resembles with Roger Moore. I think that is so close to Enter the Dragon that they're making fun of that. That is a absolute one-to-one mocking up of Enter the Dragon. And therefore you would have to know Enter the Dragon, of course. But it's clearly visible here. Okay.
How did it feel to you?
Let me think.
Don't think. Feel. It is like a finger pointing away to the moon. Don't concentrate on the finger or you will miss all that heavenly glory. Do you understand? Never take your eyes off your opponent.
Never take your eyes off the opponent. Yeah, and so we now come to the fight of Bruce Lee and O'Hara.
And this is the same movie.
Yeah, that's the same movie, yes. See?
Wow.
Yeah. And that's what the man with the golden gun is absolutely referring to. Yeah.
Yes, it is.
So you know that when Christopher Lee is not only related to Ian Fleming, but he has also a card of Special Air Service that he is part of the Secret Society, Secret Service, huh? Yeah, Golden Dragon. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. What's really interesting is the character that Bruce Lee would have played has been played by Woo Son-taek. And Woo Son-taek has been played in an episode of Heart to Heart with Robert Wagner, who once was the husband of Natalie Wood, which drowned under mysteriously circumstances in the beginning of the 80s. Natalie Wood was the female lead of a James Dean movie where all the actors, all the two main actors and she died under mysteriously circumstances. Yeah, so Sal Mineo has been stabbed, she had been drowned, and James Dean was killed in a car crash. Oh, great. And the movie, I think it was called Rebel Without a Cause. Yeah, so if you made a movie about Satan, don't be surprised. So, and this On Son-taek, he starred in that session of Heart to Heart, 1983, with Robert Wagner and Stephanie Powers. The Hearts head to Macau to stop the trials and to retrieve the statue. I said, oh, come on, really? I know it sounds not that important, but you see that I don't want to be fooled all my life. Yeah, these are just coincidences. The same guy that did that spoof, that did replace Bruce Lee in that 007 movie 1974, is playing in a 1983 episode of Heart to Heart, where the Hart family is heading to Macau to stop the trials and to retrieve a statue. I said, sure. When it is down to Hong Kong, to Macau, what else? It must be the trials. It must be a secret society, huh? My. So bottoms up, I said here, Freemasons about the checkered floor. That's Lieutenant Hip, of course. Yeah, that's the laser gun, which is quite similar to the laser gun in Goldfinger here. Yeah, you see that laser gun? Dynamite with a laser beam, guaranteed to blow your mind. Yeah, that's 007. Another fake stuff. Maybe that plane is also fake. I do not know. Yeah. So in that gesture here he's playing, that guy, that area, is very strange because in the mid-1970s, the name of that man, of that short man, is Village Chess, had a 2-year relationship with the actress Susan Tyrrell and shared a home with her in the Laurel Canyon area of Los Angeles. I said, yeah, sure, where else? The world is so small, it only resembles of Hong Kong, Macau, and Los Angeles, Laurel Canyon. He died in the early morning on 4th of September 1993 at his North Hollywood home. Age 50 is believed, so nobody knows, but believed to have first fired a shot through the sliding glass patio door to awaken his longtime girlfriend, Katie Self, before shooting himself.
Who is this?
That guy, that character who plays the dwarf in that Man with the Golden Gun, Mr. Willie Chase.
Oh, now this is the guy that was in that series. Trying to think of the name of a television series. What was the name of it? Where he was like the helper around the estate, and he'd go, "The plane, boss, the plane."
Mm-hmm. Don't know.
I forget. I'd have to look it up. I don't even. Hold on a second. I'll find out.
What I want to show you that there are so many strange cases in Hollywood actors and all the stuff. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, that was Fantasy Island. There was a series called Fantasy Island.
Mm-hmm.
So you're talking about the same guy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he lived at Laurel Canyon. Oh yeah. Yeah, and so he was believed to have first fired a shot through the sliding glass patio door to awaken his long-term girlfriend. Isn't that usual procedure in the United States to shoot through a glass to awaken your girlfriend?
No.
Before shooting himself. I
It's
don't believe anything out of
completely
Wikipedia. I think that is an unsolved murder here.
Mm-hmm.
They found, of course, a suicide note saying that he was despondent over long-time health problems. He was suffering from chronic pain due to having oversized internal organs, putting increasing pressure on his body. Nobody knows except himself. If so, he was very bad, but he was very bad shape. But I don't see any reason to shoot your girlfriend, huh?
No.
So he's a murderer, even if he has murdered somebody 1 minute before his own death. But that is no excuse for somebody who having pain. And you see that he could have spared his girlfriend. I don't buy the entire story, sorry. I have not researched that, but you see, sorry, but this is very close to Hollywood. Huh? I don't have to buy anything. Harpocrates was the god of silence. Yeah, so that's... Yeah, it's also prominent in Freemasonry. In the Hellenistic region, Harpocrates was adapted by the Greeks from the Egyptian child god Horus, who represented the newborn sun, yeah, rising sun, rising each day at dawn. The later Greeks and Roman poets have made Harpocrates the god of silence and secrecy.
Oh, the god of secrecy. Okay.
The finger to the mouth officially was a realization of hieroglyph for child. So they have mistaken that, they tell you. Okay, so it has to do with a pagan god, once again, and in Egyptian it means Horus the child and all the stuff. So it could also be a reference to Freemason once again. Where do you want to start? Where do you want to start? Yeah, somebody who has been made a very big resemblance of Harpocrates was Harpo. John Thorsten Svensson, professionally known as Harpo, a Swedish pop singer, movie star, which was been promoted by the Swedish band ABBA. ABBA means father in Aramaic. And this Harpo character, or this dwarf in that James Bond movie, The Man with the Golden Gun, said, "If you kill him, all will be mine." Yeah, so it's all about,
possessions.
He speaks to James Bond, "If you kill him, all will be mine." Yeah. So it's all about mammon, once again.
Right.
Yeah. So there I have that inserted. You see this strange door here. It reminded me of artist Timothy McLeary, LSD, who has made that movie. Who have made that that record 7 Up together with Usher Temple, and Bruce Lee has been said to have 7 Up, so maybe that means also that he has been given drugs or what else. So, Spiral Goddess, and don't want to go into this. Lee was more interested in the role of Lieutenant Hip in The Man with the Golden Gun. Yeah, you see, even Paul Heller, who was been busy with the production of Enter the Dragon, he said he ordered his Rolls-Royce Corniche because he's knowing he's going to come rich and famous and all the stuff, and that's what Bruce Lee always wanted to achieve. And that's, I think, is one of the big problems that he created in Hollywood. He didn't obey to the hierarchy. Hierarchy means this is the biggest movie producer, film producer in Hollywood at that time, Run Shaw, his name, Shaw House, and he's always portrayed with a Rolls Royce. So if Bruce Lee would have ordered his Rolls Royce, and even then a golden, which means that he was on top of others because he didn't want to be an actor anymore. He did want to have his own studio, his own movies, his own company. More. I want to get more. I want to be the biggest. It's like Isaiah 14:12. I want to be like the Most High.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's what everyone is doing, not just Bruce Lee, Michael. That's what the whole world is involved in. That's why we have sovereign countries. Who's sovereign anyway?
Yeah.
You know?
Paul Heller.
It's just such a mockery of God, actually.
Yeah. Paul Heller confirmed a myth about Bruce's desires for glamour or for worldly possessions. We all know Enter the Dragon was going to be a successful film when we saw the dailies, and even more so when we had a sneak preview, so much so that Bruce even ordered his Rolls Royce. Yeah. That's what Charles Law also said. When Bruce Lee said, when I have a big studio and when I become a millionaire, then I will go to church with you.
Right. That's right.
So that's also hierarchy, yeah? So that means that making money is more important than to go to church. Right?
You're putting mammon before your first love. Yeah.
Yeah.
So in other words, mammon is more important than your creator.
Yeah, I think he should have not ordered a Rolls Royce. I think the more appropriate car for him would be a Jensen Interceptor. That's American. I gave you the reason. The Jensen Interceptor has been made between 66 and 76. Yeah. To intercept somebody means to stop something before some action has been put out or been finalized. And Jeet Kune Do, his own creating style, means the way of the intercepting fist. So therefore I thought, okay, Interceptor, the Jensen Interceptor would be the best car for Bruce Lee, because that would be Jeet Kune Do car. Sometimes I get this ideas, sorry.
Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing, Michael. When you watch that movie, The Game of Death, makes you wonder what on earth Bruce Lee was thinking.
The problem is that the problem is that Game of Death only consists 11 minutes of Bruce Lee at the very end.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And the whole rest of the movie is just total fabrication of Bruce.
Yeah. It's just making money. Yeah? They wanted to have
poor quality acting.
Yeah, they wanted to have their money back. But Game of Death, we have talked about that one of the last sessions, it just serves as a vehicle to just make money, and also they reveal something. They reveal also in Game of Death the involvement of Freemasonry.
Well, the creepy guy at the beginning there, jeez.
With the Manu Cornuta sign, yeah.
Oh, well, this guy that has the fish and he's feeding the fish and
oh yeah, that guy, yeah, that
joy
Lang,
watching. Yeah, watching.
Also another resemblance character which could also be fit to the description of Aleister Crowley, huh?
Yeah, I think that would much better suit.
Yeah, what also is really interesting that his colleague at that time, Raymond Chow, who said that when Bruce wanted to switch over to another company, over my dead body, is a man without any hair. So could also be a resemblance to Raymond Chow, who knows. But Raymond Chow was also the producer of that movie.
That's right. Right. That's really what it's about, isn't it?
So
it's an admission of some kind.
Yeah, especially when they have shot their final shots at the Golden Harvest studio, Golden Harvest rooftop, where he was falling off at the end. So Bruce Lee was a contender for the role of Lieutenant Hip in The Man with the Golden Gun. Had he done the movie, this would have been a way to accentuate his interest in ordering Rolls Royce. Can you imagine the first time an Asian superstar is helping out James Bond? That would have been more of an impact than Enter the Dragon was. To star in a 007 movie. You remember? China James Bond. That's what Bruce Lee himself called.
Yes, right, correct.
And what other directors called him. Raymond Chow, over my dead body, could imagine the headline that Bruce went from being in talks to actually signing, from Golden Harvest to Golden Gun. Bruce has already scared Raymond Chow with the Shaw Brothers switch, and this is not Bruce Lee. This is just I have forgot his name. The actor of the Man of the Golden Gun. That's him. And you you can, I think, with all means, yeah. You can really imagine that Bruce Lee would fit that suit perfectly.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
It's really interesting when you go into this original book of Ian Fleming, The Man with the Golden Gun, and you type in hip, you got two results. Yeah, Bond reached into his hip pocket, and Scaramanga reached for his hip pocket. But there is no lieutenant, and there is no Lieutenant Hip in the script. So, could it be that Lieutenant Hip was being a kind of a reference to Bruce Lee?
Well, yeah, you had mentioned that earlier. That what was it about Bruce Lee in the hip then?
Yeah, but I have not shown it, I think.
Okay.
So Soon Taek-ok as Lieutenant Hip, Bond's local contact in Hong Kong and Bangkok. Soon Taek-oh trained in martial arts for the role, and his voice was partially dubbed over. Put your hip into it. The Way of the Dragon, 1972.
Put your hip into it.
Yeah, Lieutenant Hip.
Now, I did see that movie, Way of the Dragon. That was the first Bruce Lee movie I watched.
That was in Rome, supposedly.
Yes,
and,
correct.
And at
the Colosseum.
At the Colosseum.
With Chuck Norris. Yeah, go ahead.
I have heard that Chinese boxing lacks any real power.
Well, you only lack power when you're a beginner.
Oh, you got to put your hip into it, yeah.
In 6 seconds.
How do you develop any power?
By putting your whole body behind it, like this. Put your hip into it.
Put your hip into it.
There we are.
Yeah, there you are. It's not hip for the hippies, you see, that they can get away with every lie. But, sorry, Lieutenant Hip, it's a Chinese character, you see that, or Japanese guy, so an Asian guy, so it's not a hippie from the United States. So it's the hip, put your hip into it. The Way of the Dragon. The Man with the Golden Gun. Yeah? You see?
Yeah.
And what's also interesting, if I remember correctly, is that some character of the Man of the Golden Gun, I have not found it in the script, I have not found it on Wikipedia or somewhere else. I think it's called Dr. Wu. And Dr. Wu is the neurosurgeon when it comes down to the 20th of July in the Queen Elizabeth Hospital. That's called Dr. Peter Wu. But if that is correct, that would be just another coincidence, of course. Yeah, I'm running out of coincidences, I'm sorry. I don't have any coincidence. Yeah, but that would be the part of Bruce Lee. And it's no coincidence, I think, or maybe it is a coincidence that in Enter the Dragon, the movie that we are soon talking about, Bruce Lee has been portrayed here as a Shaolin monk working for some secret service. And you can imagine yourself that during the time of the production of the movie, Hong Kong was already, for then over 100 years, under the protection or administration of the United Kingdom. So which kind of a secret service could it be? When the main character also has the boss, he has the name of Mr. Braithwaite. It doesn't sound any Chinese, huh? So for what kind of a secret service is he spying then? Has to do something with Hong Kong, huh? So, the British Secret Service. So he's playing James Bond. But of course it would have been a great task to just switch the suit, which is very close here, I think, even in the color, to play then in a real James Bond movie. So, but Enter the Dragon itself is a Chinese James Bond movie. Because it is about a secret location on an island where a guy is having a heroin lab, a drug laboratory. Great, huh? So, that's not a coincidence that Lieutenant Hip here is it's a resemblance of Bruce Lee's character, Mr. Lee. It is real name, Mr. Lee in Enter the Dragon. So we are close to the end. There are just one page left, and that's a question I cannot answer. For all of you who have seen that movie, there is a question in that movie, The Man with the Golden Gun, as follows. Every human on the planet, which is not a planet, who has seen the man with the golden gun asked the same question. Why did Lieutenant Hip drive off and leave James Bond behind? For the heck of it. You see here Enter the Dragon. Batch. Come on, this is clearly resemblance to Enter the Dragon. Yeah, so he did not touch him. Yeah, you see, can't touch him. Can touch this. Dum, do, do, dum, do, do. Can touch this.
Right.
Yeah. So and then he'd been faced with all the enemies in the karate school, which is very interesting because Bruce Lee had some kung fu schools, and then he got the help of females who were members of a karate school. Yeah, in that movie. Okay. And then in the end, they leave with the car. This is Lieutenant Hip here. They leave with the car with the girls behind and leaving Bond for dead. So why did they leave James Bond behind? Yeah? Why did they leave him behind? It's an interesting question in that movie, huh?
Mm-hmm. Right.
So, and then he had to jump off, and then, for just sheer amount of luck, yeah, he just switched to a boat, a fast boat, and he could get away. Oh, what a coincidence. Maybe somebody can answer the question, maybe we can't, but it's very interesting. It could also be a resemblance to Bruce Lee itself, when it's Inspector Hip, or Lieutenant Hip, or Bruce Lee. Bruce Lee is leaving an agent of the Secret Service behind him. He does not want to collaborate or what else. Maybe that has something to do. I do not know if there is an exaggeration or what. Maybe there's something to do that Bruce Lee didn't want to cooperate. Maybe that has some real life coincidences. I don't know. That's up to you. We can't solve any riddles here. Yeah, we can also see that it's just a money-making machine, and everybody who is then offending the hierarchy, they will get rid of them, as it most likely did happen in the case of Bruce Lee. Brett was just mentioning Game of Death, so the last discontinued movie of Bruce Lee. And what's very interesting is that the title music of Game of Death, which was then been produced with snippets of 1972, in 1978, with snippets of his actual funeral in 1973. So 5 years later, Raymond Chow, Gordon Harvest, and some other financiers, they have then gotten the movie together, Game of Death, which is a totally fabrication. And there is no George Lazenby nor Betty Ting-Pei in it, in the Game of Death. Oh, that was the cause where they all should have met in the Miramar Hotel in 1973, and nothing of it then have worked out. And 5 years is not that long of a time, but yeah, maybe. In the meantime, Betty Ting-Pei has been married to Charles Yong, who was been affiliated with a triad, and George Lazenby has other things in his mind. Oh, yeah, that's how the cookie crumbles, huh? What's interesting, nevertheless, is that the title music of Game of Death in 1978 has been composed by John Barry, who is the composer of the James Bond movies. And with that, I rest my case.
Mm-hmm.
And for the example of Bruce Lee, yesterday I came across a martial artist, a female martial artist called Michelle Yeoh Chu Kieng, credited as Michelle Khan. She rose to fame in the 1990s after starring in Hong Kong action films where she performed her own stunts. So she rose to fame in Hong Kong like Bruce Lee, where she performed her own stunts, like the Heroic Trio, Magnificent Warriors, Holy Weapon, etc. But after moving to the United States, Yeoh gained international recognition for starring in the James Bond film Tomorrow Never Dies. So, it's a big difference if you are a star or if you star in a James Bond movie, because then you gain international recognition. And for somebody whose chief aim in life was to be the first Oriental superstars in the United States, Bruce Lee, I think, had maybe cut off his pinky finger to star in a James Bond movie. That's an exaggeration, but I think that you know the meaning of it. So that's it. So that was the big XXXL session of China James Bond. It's just a coincidence. We hope that the New Jerusalem will come soon, because I'm so fed up with all the lies of Satan and all the secrets of secret societies, secret services, and secret doctrines, because Jesus Christ did do nothing in secret. I'm handing it over to my beloved brother Brett. Maranatha.
Thank you, Michael, for hanging in there with all of the facts. There's just so many of them. It's hard to keep track of all the information, isn't it? But at the end, you know, we see that all of these different agendas were planned out in secret, not in public, because that's how they work. That's how the enemy works. He doesn't work in the open. He works behind closed doors, tries to take you by surprise, and indeed he has to some degree. Maybe not entirely. At least that's what we're hoping. And yeah, Michael, it's pretty sad picture today. We see the world going the way that it's going, but who knows? Maybe, you know, there are people out there like us, and that's why we do these sessions, Michael and I, so that we can reach others and say, hey, you know, you're not alone. We're right there with you. We're suffering through all the lies with you. And, you know, at some point, you know, it's all going to be done with, and there will be nothing left but our Savior. That's our hope. So I guess that's it for the session. Thank you, Michael, and I hope to see you next time. God bless. Bye-bye.